Hello guys and welcome to today's video. Today we have a Dtno1 smartwatch. This particular model is called Dt8 Max. It's basically their latest clone to go alongside with Apple Watch 8th generation. As we can see, this particular model uses NFC, so it's got an NFC chip on board. We can see which app it's going to be using to connect to your phone, which is Wear Pro. And without further ado, let's unbox this watch and see what comes for between around about $25 to $30 with free shipping from AliExpress. So you'll get the watch itself. Once again, you have a different colors for the watch as well as the strap, so you can pick it from the shop where you're going to be purchasing from. I'll make sure to leave a link down below to the official Dtno1 store. You also have a wireless magnetic charger similar to the one you get from Apple Watch. Actually, this gets really close. Now, with the newer generation of even clone chargers, you don't have to worry about the position of the watch on the charger. It just places anywhere and it's going to charge just fine. And also, finally, there's a manual both in English and Chinese. Now, a few words about the watch itself. First of all, let's just jump into some figures, see what's actually inside of this watch. So we got 2-inch screen. This is an IPS matrix. The resolution of the screen is quite nice. It's 420 by 485 pixels. Compared to the previous model that we had before, which was like the latest Apple Watch clones, when you look at the screen, the actual screen looks a lot nicer for some reason. It looks almost like you've got an AMOLED display, but it's not the case. But like I said, it just looks that way. The battery inside of this watch is 280 milliamp battery. If you're going to be using this watch extensively, so you're going to be like calling people, use it as a phone sort of thing, then expect the battery to last between a couple of hours to probably half a day, but not more than that. Now, if you turn off that secondary Bluetooth module, then the watch will easily last about 5 to 6 working days from one charge, so that's not going to be an issue. Talking about the Bluetooth modules, this watch comes with 2 Bluetooth modules, both of them been upgraded to Bluetooth 5.0, so theoretically speaking, even when you've got the phone option activated, they should have lasted for a bit longer, but hey ho, that's what we get. You'll find the chip inside of this watch, which is RTK8762D. For those of you who are really into your processors and chips, now you know what's inside of this. And also the seller says that this watch comes with an IP rating IP68, meaning it's not afraid of water splashes, dust and all the rest of it, but it is a subject to be confirmed sort of thing. Now let's take some time and talk about the actual build quality. The build quality is absolutely astonishing. It's really precise. You don't see any gaps, you don't see any sharp edges, nothing. The materials used are fantastic. I can't make my mind up. I think it's a metal. It could be ceramic, you never know, but it just feels incredible in hand. On the left side, you can see there's a big cutout similar to the one on Apple Watch 8th generation. At the back, you've got your sensors. Please ignore the dust. It still has like the film, the protective film on there. That's why you see the dust particles, and it's got the quality sticker as well. So at the back, as you can see, you've got your temperature sensor right in the middle. You've got your blood oxygen and heart rate sensors and all the rest of it all gathered around this circle there. Unlike with the previous model that we've reviewed, which was the latest and greatest, it doesn't have the release buttons for your silicone straps. I haven't experienced personally any fallout. You know, it just seems to be staying in place just fine. But like I said, there are no release buttons for your straps. On the right side, you've got 2 physical buttons. You've got your power button as well as a rocker, so you can actually rotate that button, so it works in 2 different ways. And also you've got your home return button down the bottom. As you can see, there's a cutout for your microphone on the right side, and I will make sure to demonstrate to you how the voice sounds when you speak to someone through this watch later on. Now, jumping into the menu is pretty much similar to the watch that we reviewed in the past. So if you haven't seen that review, make sure you go back into my playlist and just have a look at that. But it's very similar to the previous watch. You can rotate the crown and you can change the wallpapers that way. Now, I've got that deactivated because I don't like that, because what happens usually is if you wear the watch underneath your sleeves, a lot of times, you know, this crown will actually rotate throughout the day, which is annoying. So to do that, you long press the screen. When this sort of secondary screen comes up, what you want to do is you want to deactivate the lock. Once that lock deactivated, now you can change the watch faces by rotating the crown. And there are a few watch faces pre-installed in the watch itself. You can download a lot more than 100 watch faces through the app, and I'll show you that later on as well. And once you've picked the watch face that you want, if you want to keep it on the screen without interfering with it in the further way, all you have to do is just put the lock back on, make sure it's locked, and that's it. From now on, you won't be able to change the watch faces by rotating the crown. Right, real quick look at the menu itself. So if you scroll from top to bottom, usual thing, you will see the brightness settings, information about the watch. You can use Alipay. This is your MP3 player. If you scroll from left to right from here, you've got your option to disperse the water if your watch has been subject to, being submerged in the water. You've got your flashlight, which is basically just a white screen, but that's more than enough in a dark environment. And finally, you've got things like that. That's the option to activate display by rotating your wrist. And also this is the option to activate your double click on the screen, and also your Google or Apple Assistant as well. SOS allows you to activate your favorite contacts. So for instance, you can save a favorite contact in the app, and whenever you need someone's assistance, for instance, you find yourself in trouble, you can't pull out the phone, you'll be able to use that option there. And you can also deactivate the sound and the vibrations if you find yourself in a quiet environment or meeting whatsoever. Now, if you scroll from left to right, that gives you access to a quick things like the 4 icons down the bottom that will demonstrate the most frequently used apps. The Bluetooth call, that's the option that you want to activate if you want to use this watch as a walkie-talkie. So basically, if you want to talk to someone through the watch, so you're going to have to physically activate it. Make sure that once you had a conversation to deactivate that option, because if you're going to leave that secondary Bluetooth module on, it will drain your battery in no time. And the top layer there just shows the messages that you should have received from people. You can't read the messages fully, but you can read most of it, and you can get a good idea of what people were trying to say in that message. If you scroll from right to left, that takes you to your basically like physical activities menu. So it shows you calories burned, steps taken, and you can actually see your activities all the way to the end of the month, which is fantastic. The weather is also really good. The weather gets updated every single day, several times a day, which is fantastic, and it always stays on the screen. So you'll never get a screen where you're gonna open it up and it's gonna say disconnected or something like that. So weather is constantly updated. That's quite good. Music play is very simple. Play, pause, keep your tracks. Temperature readings, it's accurate only when you wear it on your wrist for a long period of time. So right now it's just showing whatever the sensor temperature is. So currently it's about that much. But if you keep it on the wrist, the temperature reading will be fairly accurate. The heart rate reading, similar thing. The more you wear it, the better it becomes. And as you can see right now, because it's not on the wrist, it's not going to allow it to even take a reading. If you scroll from bottom to top, that takes you into your main menu. The main menu has different styles. So if you don't like this particular waterfall style, that's what it's called, all you have to do is just rapidly double click the crown and it will change to a different style. So this one is a list, but it's also duplicated in words. Like, so for instance, every single option is actually signed, like word signed. Now, if you double click again, it'll take you to a different menu. This is more like of an Apple Watch. That gives you a good idea about the animation and whether this is smooth enough for you or not. Next style looks just like a waterfall before, but in this case, everything is like square. There's also a round option like that. And every single time you actually rotate the crown, you get that haptic feedback, so like a nice vibration. You've got this kind of style as well. That's like a big square thing. I don't find this particularly like usable. I think it's just a bit of a mess. You've got something similar to waterfall, but it only shows basically like a 6, 7, 8 icons at a time. Something like that. Straight menu like that. One like that. And the one I actually tend to use most, which is like a waterfall style, because it gives you most of the information. I find it most like futuristic looking and all those things. Right, so in the menu, you've got things like those two phone icons just there. That basically to dial the phone number and to jump into your phone book. Your messages is there. Sports activities, you can click on the sports activities and you can see what sort of sports you can see in this particular watch. You got your temperature reading, you got your calculator. Lots of people ask about calculators all the time. Music player, heart rate reading, oxygen reading, sleep tracking. Like I said, you have to wear the watch. The more you wear, the more accurate your readings will become. You've got your stopwatch. The thing with this, unfortunately, you can't exit the screen. You have to stay on the screen and wait until the end. Same goes for the timer. You can find the you can search for your phone if you've lost it, and you can do it in reverse. So if you've lost the watch, you can search for watch through the phone. In both of the situations, you'll get a sound and vibration notifications. The yellow icon in the middle allows you to activate power saving mode. So for instance, if you see that the battery is running low and you know you're not going to make it back home, activate that option and it will last for a lot longer. You've got your GPS tracking. There is no GPS in the watch itself, but if you use your phone and the watch, you'll be able to see the GPS tracking in there once it's going to get recorded. You have your voice assistant just there where the microphone sign is. You've got different menu styles, settings. You can set the alarm. There are 1 or 2 games which I've shown in the previous review as well. Those are very simple, straightforward games, but something to pass the time if you find yourself stuck somewhere waiting. Information about the watch, home screen, so you can jump to the home screen, female tracking, period tracking, and finally, if we just jump into the settings, I'll show you what's available. So within the languages, I'll scroll through, just have a look at the different languages that are available within the watch itself. I'm sure pretty much all of you will find the language that belongs to your country. And finally, if we jump into the settings for screen on, screen off, so the bedside lamp, that allows for watch basically to be a bit like a proper Apple Watch. So once you put it onto the charger and you rotate it horizontally, you'll get that screen which will stay on throughout the night, and it's very dim and it's very nice to look at, and it's just something quite cool to have on your bedside table. As long as you've got the little docking station where you can hide the cable, you can have your watch on the side of the table, and when you wake up in the middle of the night to go to the toilet or whatever, just to have a drink, you'll be able to see what time it is and all those things. And actually, if you take the watch off the charger, it stays on that screen. And a lot of people actually said that they prefer this screen and they wish there was like a watch face similar to that, but once you press any buttons, it just jumps back to normal, and that's you sort of stuck with it then. So with the screen off, you've got different styles. You can choose between style 2 and style 1. Style 2, I'll show you just now. If you turn off your screen, it's going to be like a digital clock. That stays for around about 30 seconds and then it will turn itself off as well, so you're going to have a blank screen. Now if you jump into a different settings, if we pick style number 1, that's going to be like an analog watch. So it's just going to be more like an Apple Watch style. Once again, it's going to stay on for about 30 seconds, then it's going to turn itself off. Now there is a way to actually extend that. So if you jump into screen time, you can have your screen on for as little as 5 seconds, or you can keep it bright. So down the bottom it says keep it bright. That means your screen will never turn off, which basically makes it a bit of like an always on display. The only way to do that, the only way to keep that is actually to go to settings, and then what you're going to have to do, so keep it bright, like keep it on, and then you're going to have to set a password. That's the only way to keep your screen on, to have like an always on display. And also if you keep a password, that means that when your watch is underneath the sleeve, it won't be able to enter the watch and do all sorts of silly stuff on the watch, because obviously the screen will be constantly activated. But be prepared that your watch will drain within, I don't know, maybe 3-4 hours, something like that. So you're going to have to constantly be charging your watch. It's going to drain it really quick. The one thing that I really enjoyed is the vibration intensity. On number 1 you can barely feel it, number 2 is gets better, number 3 will definitely wake you up without any sound, just purely based on vibration. You've got different ringtones, and you've got pretty much like, it's 4 ringtones. I'm not going to demonstrate them now, but it's like 4 ringtones that you can use for notifications, for text, for notifications, for ringtones, and for alarm clocks as well. They do get quite loud, but they are not fancy ringtones or anything like that, and you can't actually add the ringtones to the watch itself. Right, so what we'll do now is I'm going to quickly demonstrate to you how the microphone sounds in this particular watch, and then we'll jump into the Wear Pro app. We'll have a look at the app, then we're going to come back and I'm going to tell you what I think about this particular product. So this is a good example. The watch is about, I don't know, maybe like 6-7 inches away from my face. I'm speaking quietly in a quiet environment, and that's how your voice will be heard by the person you're going to be talking to on the other end of the line. Right, so let's have a look at the Wear Pro app. We'll jump into that. We'll wait until the watch is going to get connected to the app. It is connected now. So we can scroll through what's available. So on the first page, you can see that there's certain things like general information about your calories, physical activities, your sleep for the previous night, your heart rate reading. Obviously, you have to be wearing the watch constantly to get all this data transferred onto your phone, blood pressure, blood oxygen, temperature, and so on. Sports activities. If you're like serious about your sports activities and you're going to go for a run, for a walk, for climbing, for whatever, jump onto the second screen, activate your sports activities from here by clicking the green man down the bottom, and it will start GPS tracking using your phone, and it will be taking information from your watch as well, the steps and all the rest of it. It's going to be combining this all good information, and it will be showing to you in that particular screen. Then if we go into the device itself, we can see that the watch is connected. First of all, let's have a look at the watch faces. So if we jump into the watch faces, it'll take a minute to upload. What I'll do is I'll quickly scroll through, and you can just have a look and decide for yourself whether any of these watch faces would be good for you or not. There are more creative ones, and there are more watch faces that sort of look like more of an original Apple watch faces. You'll see this in a minute. They are placed closer to the bottom of the list, but all in all, if you scroll carefully and if you have a look at all these watch faces, you will realize that there's more than 200 watch faces, and the watch face library is constantly updating every single week. You get at least 10 to 20 watch faces on top of what you had before, and I'm pretty sure that everyone will find a watch face of their choice. Some of them are plain, some of them are animated, some of them are actually multifunctional where you can actually click on stuff as well. So that's all good. Some which would be more suitable for kids, for ladies, for men, for creative people, for simple people, and all sorts of people basically. But if you scroll through, like I said, it just, the list is endless. Down below you can see that we can find the watch if we've lost it. We can take a photo. If you jump into that setting, that allows you to use your watch as a remote control to take selfies. So for instance, if there's no one around and you just want to take a selfie of yourselves, just use that. Just click on the watch, just click the button on the watch, which will appear on the screen, and then you'll take a selfie. Tilt to wake is basically to activate the screen by tilting your wrist. It's good enough option if you're constantly out and about, and you just want to glance at the time and all those things. But if you're doing something physical, a lot of wrist movement, then I would probably deactivate that option, because every single time you're going to turn that screen on, you're going to drain the battery just ever so slightly. Then if you want to see the incoming calls on your watch, obviously you have to toggle that option on. Same goes for the text messages. App notifications, you'll get app notifications from all these apps. And also, if you look carefully, there's right in the middle, there's a word for others. If you activate that, that will allow for all the apps on your phone to actually send notifications onto the watch itself. Then you got the NFC module, but you have to jump into it. There's a long tutorial on how to activate and how you can use it. I'm not going to even cover that. If you're gonna buy this watch for yourselves, you can spend time trying to figure it out, but I'm not going to do that. Heart rate monitoring, you can set different time. You can set it to be constant. Frequency every 10 minutes to like every hour kind of thing. The more the less, like the smaller frequency you choose, so for instance 10 minutes, obviously the more your heart rate sensor will be working, the more battery it will drain, but it should last about 3 to 4 working days anyway, even with the maximum settings turned on. Bluetooth call, it just shows you how to turn on the Bluetooth call. And that's basically it. And since you're going to be buying this watch, chances are you're going to have to go through probably 1 or 2 updates, because they just came out recently, and they are worth installing because it will make your watch perform a lot better. Right, so now that you had a chance to listen to the microphone. So you made your decision whether that's cool for you or not. You've seen the Wear Pro. The Wear Pro is actually getting quite good. I do enjoy using Wear Pro. Now, for the price, 25 to 30 US dollars, I think this is a fantastic clone. The quality is amazing. The only thing that is missing is just those quick release mechanism for the straps. But like I said, I haven't had any issues with straps actually moving about. So yeah, that's all good. Build quality is fantastic. None of the buttons are rocking. None of the buttons are making any noises. People who produce these clones, they do make an effort actually to build something really good. The speakers on this watch are good. They do get quite loud, so you can actually potentially you could listen to the music from your phone through these watches, but like I said, be prepared. The chances are the battery is going to drain quite quickly. Plenty of watch faces available, so I'm sure everyone will find a watch face of your choice. Microphone is quite decent, so literally I've got absolutely nothing to fault this watch on. The only thing, as with the previous model, I think the processor could have been a bit quicker, because sometimes it's lacking animation smoothness, especially when it comes to like a main menu. You can see like it's a bit jittery, isn't it? It's like it could have been better, could have been smoother. But all in all, I think for 25 to 30 US dollars, this is a fantastic clone. It's something you can buy, something you can wear every single day, not be bothered about damaging, scratching, and eventually when you're going to have a good use out of this particular watch, you can just chuck it away and buy yourself a new one. Considering that Apple Watch would probably set you back something stupid like 500 or 600 US dollars or even more these days, I think this is a fantastic way to go, especially if you wanted to try it on, especially if you wanted to wear the Apple Watch and get a feel for it, then yeah, absolutely. I would 100% recommend, but please make sure you follow the link down below. Go to the official store of Dtno1 on AliExpress. Don't try to save any money, because usually it just works, but in quite opposite. It's not going to work in your favor. Chances are you're going to receive a rubbish product which you're not going to be happy with. So if you want to get yourself a product that works 100% exactly the same as I've shown you today in this particular video, then follow the link down below to official store. I don't get any commission from it or nothing, but I'm just leading you to a good source where you can buy yourself a decent product. So yeah, I hope this video helps. If you still got any questions, don't hesitate, comment down below and I'll do my best to answer your questions as soon as I possibly can. Thank you very much for staying tuned. Thank you very much for subscribing and supporting this channel. I really do appreciate all your effort, guys. Thank you, and I'll see you in the next one.